Hey guys, what's going on? It's Philip at Trade Genius. In this video, I wanted to discuss 5 altcoins that have something in common. I think they're going to have some pretty decent upside potential versus, or in Bitcoin terms. So a good way to utilize, long-term swing trades on these as a way to grow more Bitcoin for your Bitcoin stash. So I want to talk about that in today's video. So let's dive into that.
Trade Genius.
Guys, really briefly, if you guys want to get any of the education or software products that we have, I'll give you a code, PHIL45, 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 and that'll get you 45% off any of those if you want to have one thing in particular that you are interested in. And if you get any of the bundles, guys, we'll throw in, if you're looking to get into trading or some of the courses and things like that, or get in the room with us, we'll throw in 30-minute coaching session on that. And that's going to be limited to 10 slots. And if you sign up between trading hours to get that. So 9:30 to 4 p.m. Sign up on that, and we'll throw in a 30-minute coaching session for free. So that's what we're going to do this week on that. All right. Okay, let's dive into these charts. Okay, guys, so basically what I wanted to cover was, there's 5 cryptocurrencies that are potentially looking to be listed on Coinbase. So that's going to be ADA, that's Cardano, that's the Asian type Ethereum, BAT, basic attention token. So that works with the guys from Mozilla. They made that browser, and so this is a way to reward content. So that's I like the concept of BAT, basic attention token, as a way to accurately verify, ad revenue and things like that. You got Stellar Lumens, which is has teamed up with IBM and stuff like that. So they've got things going on with that project. Zcash, of course, that's a pretty active project, fork of Bitcoin, and 0x is the 0x protocol, which they want to use as far as utilizing decentralized exchanges and things like that. They got some other things going on, but that's a utility token. So anyway, let's dive into ADA. And so what I'm basically trying to do here, guys, is just show you, these coins have potential. One or more of these may get listed, and if they do, you're gonna expect a pretty decent bounce. So what I've marked off are basically levels that I'm looking at, and currently these lines represent support and resistance. So you want to, if you're rubbing up against resistance, you're not going to want to really buy there, because at that point you're going to be somewhat overbought short term, and then you're just running into natural price resistance, and then it tends to roll over. So you've got this area now where we've hit this fib buy zone, and looking for a bounce higher there. And if that does turn and the market turns, then what we should see is getting back above this zone and then we'll be in this other zone that goes from 1379 or 1380 to approximately 1675. So we have that area there. And the low side would be actually, and it might be scary if this thing rolls over, but you'd want to take a stab at 910, buy the dip there. So oftentimes in crypto, it pays to buy the fear, especially where it's at logical support levels. Beyond that, we don't have a lot of price history. Obviously, if you look at the volume nodes, you're gonna have a big fat volume node at around 560. A ton of accumulation was there, and then you can see where that 560 level had really broken through hard, and then came back down and was supported, and then that thing launched from there and hasn't really seen those levels. So I would say you could probably really load up if you ever saw that 560. I don't know that we see that on this corrective phase, but that's a big level, 560 on Cardano. But for right now, the way I would play this is, you have these levels that you're looking for it to hold. And so I think ultimately with alts, you have to take profits, and alts can move very quickly, but they also can just get an extended bear market like we've seen. So you can either just get in at these historically low levels and expect the market to turn, or if you want to be a little bit more decisive, get in, pinpoint these entries, or you can use our trader toolkit, crypto trading tools that we have. We're going to be coming out with a toolkit and further fine tune these entries. But right now, we're looking at this, actually for this pullback to hold at this level actually. So this probably wouldn't be a bad area to look for an entry, more precise entry on the lower time frames. And I would have a fairly tight stop there. The next spot would be this 920 level. But if Bitcoin starts to, make this move higher and the alts maintain the relationship that they have, then we could very well likely see a turn here. This would also create a inverted head and shoulders. So you got the right shoulder, the head, the left shoulder, head, and then the right shoulder. And then you're basically looking for a break of that neckline. So that's what we're looking at on Cardano ADA. All right, basic attention token. And again, guys, this is just levels to look at and be positioned where decent risk reward. And if that thing does get listed on Coinbase, you're going to just see an immense pop. And you're going to want to sell into that because the pops just don't get sustained. So you could trail a stop or look at some of the higher linear regression channel time frames. If it pokes its head out of that, start trailing a stop on the hourly or the 4-hour chart, things like that, and take your profits. Wait for that to settle down, and you could probably take another stab at it higher. But when you have those coins exposed to a fiat on-ramp, and now you've got, when you log in as the retail people have basically choice now to buy Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, and a couple others, that's going to be a lot easier for those coins to increase in market cap just because the on-ramp to them from fiat is more readily accessible. Okay, so this is just some common sense stuff as far as supply and demand with the market. Now, Lumens has been pretty active. I like Lumens as basically like the swing trades you can get off Lumens is pretty decent. And honestly, with Lumens, I have these levels here, but Lumens has been pretty reliable as basically just buying the dips on the linear regression channel. So like if we got back down to this lower support area of 2900 or so, then basically, or 2990 to be more precise, 2990 to 2980, that would be like, because then your stops can be fairly short on a larger long-term position swing trade, but that's going to be a decent area of support. Now, I wouldn't hang around too long below that level because you're just going to have a big gap in volume support, and then really I'd be looking, if that were to break down, let's just say these levels don't hold, I would not hang around underwater here. I would get out of that, and then I'd be looking to reload lower down here. From the 1500 level, and then below that we also have some decent support and resistance around the 1038 level, 1040 level, based on the historical chart. So that's the levels I'm looking at for Lumens. But here it's overbought obviously, and we'd have much better success I think if we could get it back down to these levels here. Right now, until the whole crypto market starts to move, I would expect that all the pops kind of pull back until we start seeing a more concerted move higher. But we just don't have that environment quite yet. Starting to see the rumblings of it, but not just quite yet. Otherwise, the other level, if we do, you could get long at 13 or 1400 around there. But just keep in mind that if that doesn't hold, again, that's another level I wouldn't let stay underwater too long. Maybe if that doesn't hold, or you get to where you can put your stop to break even and that stops you out, wait and see if you can load up here at 2130, 2140, somewhere in there. Zcash has been a steady downtrend, so this actually wouldn't be a time that you would load up on Zcash. Right here, I would be looking, if we're looking like more short term, than this 0.01925 level, 0.01925 would actually be an interesting spot to get long. You got a bullish fib zone there, but again, I wouldn't let that sit too long underwater. You also have decent support and resistance at 0.0172 on that chart there. Sorry about that, guys. And then and you're also at the top of the linear regression channel. We did have a daily buy signal fired down here, and that made for a decent move up. And remember, we like those on our swing trade. This is part of our crypto toolkit that's going to be basically a suite of 3 or 4 tools, and we're going to talk about that in a webinar this week. But you want that on the lower end of the regression channel when they fire for a buy. You don't really like the buys if they're on the upper end of the regression channel. You like to see sells there. So buys on the lower end, sells on the higher end. Those are your really solid signals. But anyway, that would be short term on Zcash is 0.0191, and then lower stab would be 0.01734 ish in that area. Okay, last one, 0x, and then we'll wrap it up. 0x. I like 0x as a trading token. I think it's better to get in and out of it, take profits often. There's been just a lot of times where you've ridden large moves up and down. So, unless you got in really low and you have, really long-term outlooks on this thing, it really is beneficial to, especially when you get long sustained moves up, you just kind of want to trail that stop up, follow that WMA20 up, and then if you get tagged out, especially when it's had a long run, when it hasn't really closed below it, that's been a pretty telltale sign. And so great trading token though. I think it provides great swing trades, and you don't even have to do like these longer term ones. You could do shorter term swing trades too. So that's definitely a token that I like to swing trade. As of right now though, I think looking at the long term chart, you really have to look at where a lot of the volume support is. So big support here at 49.90 or 5,000, big support there. Like if you got back down there, that's just almost a mandatory buy for a bounce. Beyond that, the other level that I didn't mark here is here at around 80.59. You notice we held that support level. The problem at coming back down there, you require a fairly tight stop because you can see we have a bit of a gap between these two support levels. The other support level is in here, support and resistance at 70.90. So there's a lot of little levels in here that we could see a bounce off of. So what I like to do in this situation, guys, and I know this is a little messy, but as we approach those levels, drilling down to the lower time frames and using some of our signal software to kind of pinpoint the entries there, and that would make for good risk reward on that. But again, the approach here is to find good risk reward spots, and because we don't know when they're going to get listed, we don't want to get into a real hodl position where we're underwater. If it goes against us, then let's just stop out and look for a lower level, or wait for it to clear a resistance level and try again. But just check out these levels, check out these coins. I want to give some useful information out to you guys, and keep these things on your radar, because getting into them at good support resistance level, if we start seeing the whole crypto space start to move up, we've talked about the alt market cap starting to turn up, those could turn into very, very large gainers for you. And that's, again, trying to grow that Bitcoin stash. So just putting that out there today, guys. Hope that helps. Please hit like and subscribe. Again, appreciate you guys watching our videos, and I'll see you on tomorrow's video. All right, take care. Bye.
Trade Genius.